That's the flow I make when I don't got no beat. I made that song. I wrote it without no beat.
Tucked away in a quiet Sandy Springs neighborhood, past a sunlit tunnel of tall trees, sits a cozy home King Von once used as his escape, a place far removed from the streets that forged his unfiltered story. Inside these calm Atlanta walls lived a master storyteller, an artist who painted reality with journal-level detail, whose life was tragically cut short far too soon. Today, we're stepping inside a private space very few people have ever seen. To truly understand the legend he became and the home he chose, we have to rewind to the kid who survived Chicago's toughest blocks just to make his voice heard. Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe, because what we're about to uncover goes deeper than music. King Von was born Davin Daquan Bennett in Chicago, Illinois, a city where beauty and danger live side by side. He grew up as one of 10 kids, split between his mother, Taisha, and his father, Walter. But in reality, it was his mom who held everything together. His father was rarely around, drifting in and out of prison, more like a shadow than a steady presence. Then when Von was just 11 years old, everything changed. Walter was shot and killed, a moment that shattered his childhood and left a scar that would follow him for the rest of his life. Growing up in Parkway Gardens, better known as O Block, Von was surrounded by some of the toughest realities Chicago had to offer. Opportunities were limited, danger was everywhere, and for most kids, dreams didn't stretch much farther than the apartment complex itself. By 16, Von had his first run-in with jail, kicking off a cycle of arrests that followed him through his teens and into his early 20s. But even during his lowest moments, there was another side of him, sharp, focused, and hungry for something more. While locked up, he earned college credits at South Suburban College, quietly trying to rewrite his future. Then came July 2014, a moment that could have ended everything. Bennett was charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder in a shooting that left 1 person dead and 2 others injured. He spent more than 3 years locked inside Cook County Jail, facing the possibility of life behind bars. In December 2017, the verdict came in, not guilty, and the day he walked free marked the beginning of an entirely new chapter, one that would launch King Von's rise in music. Music became the one path that didn't pull Von back into the system. And that path widened fast when he crossed paths with Lil Durk, someone from the same neighborhood who had already broken through in the industry. Durk didn't just hear talent in Von, he felt his presence. That belief led to Von signing with OTF, Only the Family. Under the name King Von, he dropped his first single in December 2018, and the reaction was instant. The song took off, climbed the Billboard charts, pulled in tens of millions of views, and introduced a voice that did more than rap. King Von was telling real stories, and people were listening. On January 9th, 2019, Von stepped into the spotlight again, this time on the remix of Exposing Me, a track by fellow Chicago rapper Memo 600. The song wasn't just music, it was raw and confrontational. Von and Memo traded bars that called out real-life beefs and street clashes with nearby rivals. It didn't take long for a response. On February 4th, 2019, FBG, Duck, and Ruga fired back with their own remix, turning the track into a citywide back and forth. Both versions were built off the same haunting sample from the Indian song Sanam Re, and the momentum didn't stop there. But this was where Von truly separated himself. He painted scenes with the accuracy of a reporter and the timing of a filmmaker. Crazy Story 2.0 and Crazy Story 3.0 locked the series in as some of the most iconic storytelling tracks in drill music. By September 2019, Von dropped his debut mixtape, Grandson Volume 1, named after his childhood nickname. It debuted at number 53 on the Billboard 200, clear proof he wasn't a viral moment. He was here to stay. On November 16, 2019, Von dropped 2 a.m., and the music video hit the same day, keeping his momentum rolling. Just weeks later, on November 29th, he followed up with Rollin', teaming up with YNW Melly and releasing another high-energy video that kept eyes locked on him. Then came February 21st, 2020. Von released Took Her to the O, and this one changed everything. The video went viral, the song took off, and it quickly became the biggest hit of his career. Both Took Her to the O and Rollin' landed on his second mixtape, LaVon James, which dropped March 6, 2020. The project debuted at number 63 on the Billboard 200 and later climbed to number 40, another major step forward. Released through only the family and Empire, the 16-track tape was executive produced by Chop Squad DJ and packed with features from NLE Choppa, T Grizzly, G Herbo, Lil Durk, YNW Melly, Booka 600, and Young Ace. Vaughn wasn't just dropping songs anymore. He was building a catalog that proved he was here for the long run. In October 2020, Vaughn dropped what many fans still call his masterpiece, Welcome to O'Block. The album hit hard. It was cinematic, raw, and deeply personal, paying full respect to the neighborhood that made him who he was. Packed with big-name features like Polo G and Drake, the project debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200, his highest chart position ever. That release marked a turning point. King Von wasn't just the next up anymore. In that moment, he became a national voice, telling stories the whole country was finally listening to. Even after his passing, King Von's voice never faded. His posthumous projects, What It Means to Be King in 2022 and Grandson in 2023, kept his legacy alive, reminding fans just how rare his storytelling really was. His writing was vivid, honest, and fearless, one of a kind in his generation. As his career took off, Vaughn finally found something he'd never really had before: peace, a place where the noise faded and the chaos stayed outside. That place was his Atlanta home, a quiet symbol of a rap storyteller's legacy. Tucked away on a calm, tree-lined street in Sandy Springs, just minutes from Lost Corner Preserve, sits the two-story brick house King Von saw as a fresh start. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't built to show off. It was calm, something Von had been chasing his entire life. Step inside and the home opens into a breathtaking two-story family room, a quiet sanctuary where space and light reign. 20-foot ceilings soar overhead, sunlight pouring in through expansive windows. A rugged stone fireplace anchors the room, a spot where he could sit for hours in silence. For a man whose music was known for its intensity, this was where he discovered a different rhythm, gentleness. Just off the main living area, a sunroom bathed in light invites reflection. French doors frame the space, spilling sunlight across the floor. Here in this almost sacred corner, Von crafted lyrics, mapped out songs, and dreamed a life his younger self could never have imagined. Overlooking the terrace, the sunroom is a quiet reminder that nature can be a companion, not a threat, a place where creativity and calm coexist. The kitchen still radiates that warm, lived-in charm. Granite countertops, GE Cafe, and Bosch appliances, and hardwood floors that creak underfoot. Nothing flashy, but every detail perfectly functional. Friends say this is where Von often drifts to think, grabbing a quick bite before heading back to his studio or settling down to write. Just across the hall, his library and private study offer a stark contrast, a small, quiet sanctuary packed with books, notebooks, and calm. Here he could plan, reflect, and work without interruption. For someone whose life has always buzzed with noise, this room is nothing short of a revelation. The master bedroom, tucked away on the ground floor, is a haven of privacy. A spacious, serene bedroom flows into an open, airy bathroom, a rare luxury for a man who has spent much of his life with little room to breathe. Friends say Von treasures this space above all others. It's peaceful, solid, and safe, a place that finally feels like home. Down in the basement, there's more than just space. It's a retreat, an entertainment area, a storage nook, and a compact gym make it a practical haven where he could kick back, work out, or just decompress after long nights in the studio. But it's outside where the house truly speaks. A paved terrace stretches into the backyard, opening onto a flawless forest, a quiet world of towering trees, dappled shade, and soft earth underfoot. The contrast is striking. The man whose music once captured the chaos of Chicago's practice district now woke to birdsong instead of sirens. But after he passed, the house fell silent. No music, no laughter, no late-night scribbles or studio sessions. Just an empty home, holding the echo of a life and a story cut tragically short. And outside the once quiet house, the cars tell a story all their own, a story of success, ambition, and the relentless pace of a life lived at full throttle. The car collection isn't just about wealth, It's about identity. Every car is a statement, a chapter, a symbol of how far he climbed. Take the Rolls-Royce Wraith, purchased at the peak of his career, shortly after Welcome to O'Block dropped. A V12 masterpiece wrapped in quiet luxury, the Wraith is everything his childhood lacked. Soft leather, a star-studded headliner, and a silence so complete you could hear your own thoughts. Starting at around $350,000, it's more than a car. It's proof that he rewrote his own destiny. If the Wraith is elegance, the Ferrari 458 Italia is pure adrenaline. 562 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. A car built to match Von's energy when he's pushing every limit. Recording, touring, filming, living like life has no brakes. Those close to him say the Ferrari is the car that makes him smile the most. For the first time, he's not running from danger. He's chasing it, and it thrills him. Then there's the Hellcat. If a car could rap, it would be this one. 707 horsepower, the roar of a supercharged engine, an aura as raw and unfiltered as the streets that raised him. The Charger SRT Hellcat was the perfect mirror for Von's music. Loud, commanding, impossible to ignore. Here, luxury is meaningless. What matters is power, presence, and energy. The same Chicago grit he carried with him everywhere. For practicality, for long nights in Atlanta, studio runs, or touring, he turns to the GMC Yukon XL. No flash, no fuss, just a dependable workhorse with enough space for luggage, instruments, security, and friends. Built to handle a life that's moving faster than most can keep up with, it's the quiet backbone of a high-octane world. For Von, cars were never trophies. They were mirrors, reflections of who he was, who he wanted to be, and the distance he had traveled from the streets of Chicago. Behind the fame, beyond the legend, King Von lived a private life of loyalty, love, and the constant tension between the man he had become and the man he was still trying to be. Every car, every curve, every engine roar tells a story. And even in their quiet moments, parked under the trees outside his house, they whisper the chapters of a life that burned fast, shined bright, and far too soon was gone. Personal life. Von's personal life was a world of contrasts, moments of tenderness shadowed by the intensity of his past. One of the few glimpses into his emotional world came through his on-again, off-again relationship with Dallas rapper Asian Doll. He appeared in her 2019 music video for Grandson, a rare public window into the softer side of a man known for his fierce persona. Fans often talk about their bond, reading the quiet moments between the lines. Beyond the spotlight, Von is believed to have 3 children, a son and 2 daughters. Family was a private sanctuary, a world he cherished fiercely but kept largely out of public view. Photos were rare, names even rarer. He guarded them like a secret, understanding that some parts of his life needed protection from the glare of fame. But even in these personal spaces, the shadows of his past loomed large. The same streets that shaped his music, the same struggles that fueled his rise, never fully stayed at the door. Even in private, Von's story was never quiet. His choices, his loves, and his losses all intertwined, echoing the rhythm of the life he lived. A life that was as raw and real as the music he left behind. Von's run-ins with the law started young. In 2012, he was arrested for illegal possession of a firearm. Just 2 years later, he faced charges tied to a shooting in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood, an incident that left 1 person dead and 2 others injured. When key witnesses refused to testify, Von was acquitted, but the experience left its mark, layering his life with caution, trauma, and a growing notoriety. By 2019, trouble found him again. Von and Lil Durk were arrested in Atlanta in connection with a shooting and robbery. Both spent time behind bars before posting bail, a reminder of how fast life could spiral, even for the most successful. And even after his death, the controversies lingered. In 2022, Chicago police named Von as a suspect in the 2012 murder of Medell McCambry, reigniting debates about his past and the environment that shaped him. But everything changed on November 6, 2020. Around 2:15 a.m., outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, a fight erupted between Von's group and Quando Rondo's crew. What began as a confrontation quickly escalated into a deadly shootout. Vaughn was shot multiple times, rushed to the hospital in critical condition, and later pronounced dead, a life cut short in an instant, leaving a city, a community, and fans around the world in shock. He was only 26, a young man just beginning to grasp the full power of his craft. That night, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation reported 2 deaths and 6 injuries. One of the injured, Timothy Lowell, also known as Tim Leaks, was charged with Vaughn's murder before the case was dismissed in August 2023 under Georgia's self-defense law. The tragedy didn't just shake Atlanta and Chicago. It sent ripples through the rap world, sparking years of tension, retaliation, and grief. On November 14, 2020, Vaughn was laid to rest at Burr Oak Cemetery in Illinois, the same resting place as several Chicago legends. His death left a void in O Block, in drill music, and in the hearts of those who had watched him turn life's pain into stories that resonated far beyond the streets. His impact continues to be felt. At the 64th Grammy Awards, King Von was honored in an in memoriam tribute, a moment of national recognition for a storyteller whose life was cut tragically short before he could reach his full potential. By 2021, a striking mural of Vaughn appeared in Parkway Gardens, painted by artist Chris Devins. Wearing a backward baseball cap and his shiny O Block necklace, Vaughn gazed over his childhood neighborhood, a symbol of pride for some and controversy for others. After years of debate, the mural was removed in November 2024, but not before it became one of Chicago's most photographed tributes. Through every hardship, every triumph, and every challenge, Vaughn remained true to himself, a young man navigating the life he was born into, turning storytelling into his guide, his weapon, and ultimately, his legacy. Thank you for taking a moment to look beyond the music, into the life he worked to build, the dreams he chased, and the mark he left behind. If this story resonated with you, like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video.